Hi, this is James Tanner. I'm a blogger. I do a Genealogy Star, and we're here speaking with the CEO of Find My Past, which is now called DC Thomson Family History, if I'm right.
Well, Find My Past is Find My Past, and actually it's been a very exciting week for us because we launched our new platform, which is a global platform which allows everybody around the world from wherever they are to access the same records. DC Thomson Family History is our corporate name. We use it for corporate activities. It shows our shareholding because the DC Thomson Group, which is one of the oldest publishing groups in the UK, they're the owners of Find My Past and our family of brands.
I'm wondering, because I've done a lot of going back into the background of the different companies, and I was just wondering how the publishing firm, which was an old family business, got into all of the other areas.
Great question. So they used to be in the shipping industry and then moved into the publishing industry, into the newspaper business, and serendipity, they were half shareholders in Scotland Online, a portal, when AOL was America Online was taking over the world. And the Scottish government asked them to help them out with the digitalisation of the Scottish records. And Scotland's People was an idea of the Scottish government, which is incredibly foresightful. You know, they really understood that you had to digitise these records, otherwise they may disappear. But also, if you digitise them, you actually can widen the audience that can engage with these records, open up the heritage of a country, basically. And DC Thomson were asked to participate and to help build Scotland's People, and that's how they got into genealogy, and they realised how interesting it was. And then Find My Past became a company that was actually founded by some people who were still within the business, became a property that could be bought. They bought Find My Past. And then later on they bought Genes Reunited. And so together we're now one platform. We have different entry doors. So if you're only interested in Scottish records, then Scotland's People is the way to go in. If you're initially only interested in newspaper archive, then the British Newspaper Archive is the place to go. Find My Past is our mother of all brands.
I'm pretty interested in the British Library project of digitizing the newspapers. How's that going? What is the?
It's as I said in my speech, digitization is labor of love. It's a long process, but the good news is that technological advancement has really helped us to get much better. It's an evolutionary process. Initially, actually, in my previous life, I was part of the Times of London archive process, and we were very happy if we were able to do 1,000 pages a day. We now do 20,000 pages a day, and actually we're on a path to do many more than 20,000 a day. So it's a process of improving the technological side, the digitization process, all the time to make it more affordable. And at the other end, making sure that the discoverability of the content improves, and then connects that content with the tree data. For me, that's one of the real tipping points for the industry. If we can actually, in a user-friendly way, can connect the newspaper content with the trees, it's going to be as much of a breakthrough as it is to connect your DNA with your tree records.
Well, we talked about today at the keynote, they talked about having obituaries as a goal to try to extract obituaries. How would you see that would interface? Is the individual user going to go in and take out obituary to put into indexing, or is there some process you might be able to go through to identify that or expedite that process? I
think it's going to be a combination of for us working even more closely with our users to understand what is the best way to extract that data out of the obituaries. At the same time, working even more closely with leading universities around the globe to make sure that we get young talent to work with us through these problems. The good news is that it's a lot easier than it was 10 years ago. I mean, you know that yourself. You come from
one of the things that I've noticed about they have the all text searches for newspapers. You know, you can go through because they've OCR'd the whole process. But the question I would say is there any planning technology where you would identify certain types of records and perhaps pull those records out for use in a database? I know, for example, in the British newspapers, you're going to have a lot of the ship manifests and publications back and forth. Things like business organizations, all those types of records that are
business news,
extremely useful.
Absolutely, and that's our goal. In some areas we're making progress. That's the journey we're on. You're absolutely right. That's what we want to do, and to make sure that it's easier for the user to find this. We have a very good partner in the British Library. They understand the need to do that as well, and we're constantly looking for new ways of searching the records, but actually new ways of digitizing it to make sure that the search is going to be a lot more relevant.
Now, all my friends in Australia and my relatives from Australia would be remiss if I didn't ask if you had what you had plans for of any types of Australian records that you were going to be adding, New Zealand and Australia. I know you've added a large number.
We've added large numbers. We're looking at new opportunities to actually add even more because, as you can imagine, our British roots, British and Scottish roots actually are naturally make those markets really important for us to make sure that those connections are being made. Genealogy knows no borders. We're one global space, and we need to make sure we get that journey of, my grandmother on the boat arriving in a different country, that we actually can replicate that with data streams.
We have one of the things last year when I was talking to findmypast, they were basically telling me, yes, they were consolidating all of the databases into one large database, so that if you were in findmypast IE or findmypast UK or whatever, you'd see the same content.
Yeah.
As every
that has happened. We launched that in beta, I believe 2 weeks ago. The migration process is starting next week to make sure we give more value to our customers by actually making it easier for them to use, but also for them to understand that wherever they are, they'll be able to see the same data. We will have individual home pages, so if you log on from Australia, that will give you relevant content about the Australian records, or just the fact that you log on from Australia and news about the genealogy societies, etc. But the data, the records that you can access from wherever you are always going to be the same. Obviously, depending on the package that you buy. We still have individual country subscriptions, but the global subscription is one and the same from wherever you come.
Okay, I don't know how much longer we're supposed to be going, but I think we better. They're waving at me out there, so I think
it looks like we've done 10 minutes. It's so interesting because everybody asks different questions. It's wonderful through these interviews how I can actually add to what I was hoping to say in the keynote, but you realise you only have 30 minutes. And there's never enough time.
Well, I thank you for the opportunity of talking to you today. Nice to meet you.
Lovely to meet you, and I'm sure we'll meet again.
I'm sure we will.